Hello, 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 everybody. Just making sure I am properly set up here. And just making sure we are live. Let me see. And of course, to give some of you some time to come into the space. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Get comfy. We're making tea today, talking about tea, and just having us a good Sunday. All right, so we are live. And like I said, I want to give some of you a moment to come in. I know it's Sunday. It's the one day of the weekend that we really have off to do a bit of relaxation and self-care and cooking and preparing for the new week, and of course brewing some teas. So I see one person has joined us so far. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to Holistic Mothers Making Tea on a Sunday with me, Princess. Apologies, my sister Shamia couldn't join us live this morning as she is feeling a bit under the weather. And so this is me by myself conducting this live. I've done a ton of lives before, a ton of interviews, and I have never had to just be on by myself. So bear with me, give me some grace as I welcome you all into this space this beautiful Sunday afternoon. We're here to talk about medicinal teas, and here in the Bahamas we call them bush tea or bush medicine. So I know some of you may be joining in live from the Bahamas, some of you may be joining in live from other parts of the Caribbean and the United States, and who knows where else. So we're here to talk about some tea. So I see 3 people are here so far. Just gonna give a few more minutes to let some more people come into the space. Facebook can only go live this way. And yes, I am wearing Cerassee. We are going to be talking about Cerassee tea this morning. All right, so we're almost about 5 minutes in, so I'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully others will come and join us soon to hear what we're going to be talking about. And of course, because this is recording live, it will be posted onto the page. And so for those who would have missed it, you can always go back and check out the recording. So welcome again. Welcome to the Holistic Mothers Sundays Tea Space. Here at Holistic Mothers, we are a collective of trained birth professionals, doulas, midwives, and herbalists, all here to not only educate but come and give aid during the pregnancy and postpartum journeys. Feel free to check out the page once the live is done to check out some of our past lives and what we are all about and some of the services that we offer. My name is Princess Pratt, and I am here today to talk all about medicinal teas making bush tea, like what we call it here in the Bahamas. And today we're going to be talking about Cerassee. Shamia couldn't make it this morning, so I'm going to hold it down on her behalf. All right, so what is Cerassee? So for those of you watching who may be living here in the Bahamas, you know that Cerassee is a vine that grows wild here in our medicinal gardens, on our lawns. It grows on the fence. This is how it looks. Thanks to my creative director for bringing some Cerassee as an aesthetic, as a backdrop aesthetic, and of course for my head. But of course we would have picked these for these to dry. And so Cerassee, its scientific name is Momordica chantica, and Cerassee is a bitter herb. So all herbs are categorized into 12 different categories, and Cerassee would be considered a bitter herb. You know, if you smell it, it smells really bitter. It's very fragrant with the bitterness. You can always tell the Cerassee and its leaves. Its leaves have a particular kind of shape. And they also grow with these yellow flowers here. And some of you may be familiar here with this little fruit that perhaps most of you would have been eating growing up. So as I mentioned, Cerassee is a bitter herb, and it being a bitter herb, that means that it's a blood purifier. Anything that is bitter is good to purify the blood, as well as it being a bitter herb, that means that it will send all the waste downward throughout the body. So you know that it's something that's going to expel waste. So when you're dealing with bitters, you know bitters are good for cleaning out. Whether you cleaning out your liver, your gut, or your blood, and all of that is going to be expelled. So that's one of the properties of the Cerassee, of it being a bitter plant. And we call it Cerassee here in the Bahamas. It's also known as Cerassee in Jamaica. In Haiti, it's known as Assouci. And on the eastern side of the world, some of them refer to bitter melon or bitter gourd, or even a balsam apple in the Americas. So it has many different names, but it has the same properties all around. Now here in the Bahamas, most of us would have grown up drinking Cerassee as a tea to combat against colds and fevers and flus, mainly colds, and of course to clean out your blood. And a lot of us actually grew up drinking it on a constant basis. I remember growing up and mentioning before that, you know, well, I drink Cerassee all the time. And someone had said to me before, you know, you should be careful how much Cerassee you consume. It's not something that can be consumed all the time. And I'm thinking, well, it's a bush medicine and it's good. I could drink it all the time, but now that I know better, I do better. And so let's talk about some of the properties of Cerassee. Cerassee is good for purifying the blood. It's good for detoxing the liver. It's an excellent aid against diabetes control. It's really good for cleaning out the pancreas. It has a lot of cancer fighting agents, and it has vitamin A, vitamin C, carotene, all of these things that you need to really clean out the body from whether it's toxins, carcinogens, old heavy metals, or toxic waste that needs to come out. Cerassee is very good in removing some of these things. Now, how it grows, it climbs. It likes to run and it likes to climb, and so it grows in a stony soil, and it usually climbs up on the fence. Funny thing, where I am at now, my Cerassee actually grows down on the ground, and I got it to come up and climb on the fence, but It grows very wild. It can take over your garden. And so it's something that you will have to keep control. Now, I see someone say they like to eat the fruit. Yes, so let's talk about the fruits. So I'll just go ahead and pick this off here, right? Or perhaps I could just lift this up here. So this is the fruit. And this fruit is known as bitter gourd or bitter melon. And it's actually a huge staple in Asian cuisine for people of Asian descent and people of Indian descent. They actually cook this and eat this, right? I saw somebody had posted a post with some Cerassee yesterday on a plant identification group that I'm in on Facebook, and they weren't able to identify it and they wanted to know what it is. And someone responded and said, oh, it's very tasty with eggs and tomatoes, right? And so this little gourd or melon here also has a lot of properties and benefits. It's good in fighting cholesterol. It's very good for the digestive system, and it's very tasty and very nutritious. And so you could go ahead and you could steam this down. Here in the Bahamas, I know we usually like it when it gets yellow, and we eat it, and it has a lot of seeds on the inside. Now, this is a fresh piece of Cerassee that I would have picked out of my garden this morning to make for tea. But most people are familiar, especially those who aren't able to access fresh Cerassee. They would get dried Cerassee in a tea form. And so Cerassee is very easy to dry. Once you pick it, what you want to do is kind of, hang it up somewhere where it's able to air dry, right? And once you've air dried it, you could go ahead and take these leaves off and crush them, and they become fine powder. I know most people, like I said, who doesn't have easy available access to Cerassee growing in their front yards, they are able to purchase Cerassee in the dried form that would come in tea bags in your grocery store. Now, let's talk about how we make this tea. So it's pretty simple. If you're making an infusion, all you need is some hot water, your Cerassee plant, and you are going to pour the hot water onto the Cerassee plant, and you're going to cover it, and you are going to let it steep. You're going to let it steep for about 15 minutes, and what this does is it allows, of course, all of its properties and its nutrients and its healing benefits, of course, to be drawn out of the plant. And once you steep it for about 15-20 minutes, you can drink it. Now, if you're going to do a decoction, now the difference between an infusion and a decoction is an infusion is usually made with like the lighter parts of the plant, like the leaves or the flowers, or maybe some light stems like a Cerassee stem. But when you're making a decoction, you're actually going to use a heavier part of the plant, whether it be roots or a heavier stem or branches. And what you're going to do is actually boil this in the hot water. You're going to bring this to boil for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then you're going to cut it off and let it set, and that's a decoction, right? And of course, if you're making a brew, same principle applies as in making a decoction, but you're going to let it sit overnight in the fridge. Now, of course, with any medicinal plant, you want to ensure, that, of course, you don't have any underlying issues going on when you're taking medicinal plants. Be sure to talk to your doctor or physician if you're on any antibiotics that could not work properly if you are taking medicinal plants, and vice versa. So ensure that you don't have any underlying issues, and of course speak to your doctor or physician if you are already on medication, because because of its potency, Cerassee actually shouldn't be, it's advised that it shouldn't be drank more than at least 3 times a month, right? Because you're cleaning out your blood, you're cleaning out your liver, and too much of it can actually lower your blood pressure. But let's talk about Cerassee in relationship to the postpartum journey, because again, we are holistic mothers, and our herbalism ties in with the postpartum and prenatal care that we actually offer. And so most people don't know, but Cerassee is a very effective plant in helping to rid the postpartum body of any excess after birth or mucus that would be left in the body. So, you know, after you've had the baby, your placenta comes out, and to help get rid of any old clots or any pieces of placenta that would not have come out, Cerassee tea is an excellent tea to drink after you've given birth. However, if you're trying to become pregnant, you don't want to consume too much Cerassee tea, because what it also acts as an abortion tea. So it can bring on an abortion or miscarriage if you are pregnant and you are consuming too much Cerassee. So if you think you're pregnant, you're trying to get pregnant, I would stay away from Cerassee tea, all right? And it can also be used as a birth control. So if you have of course, had sexual relations, and you want a natural contraceptive method to use afterwards, a Cerassee tea, if you drink it for like 3 days after the time that you would have had sex, it would also add as like it would also act as a contraception, like a Plan B pill, right? So as we can see, Cerassee has so much medicinal properties. It's also good in eliminating parasitic worms. So we would give it to children to help them in getting rid of any worm problems they may have, and of course any colds or fevers, right? And it's also good for menstrual cramps and belly aches. So remember, I mentioned before it being a bitter. Anything being a bitter would send that energy down towards the body, and so that would aid it in actually coming out. Now, outside of making tea, of course, you can also bathe in Cerassee, because it's also excellent for any sorts of skin issues you may have, whether you're dealing with a rash or you have some eczema. You can boil the Cerassee and you can actually bathe in it. And so, again, this is a multi-purpose herb that actually grows. Mine is growing right outside my door. I can go right outside and I can pick it, and I can make a brew, an infusion, a decoction, and it can be used as a tonic in me detoxifying. It can help settle my nerves. It can aid in fatigue and with high blood pressure. And again, it's an excellent, excellent, excellent tea to help in the fight against diabetes. And for those of you who need to detox your liver, this is also an excellent tea. But again, you don't want to drink this at least more than 3 times a month, you know. And again, these things grow seasonal, so you want to consume things as they grow in the season. And if for any reason that you may need it outside of its season, again, you can dry it by simply air drying it. I've read that you could also put it in the air fryer or dehydrate it or let it dehydrate, but just hanging it up on top of your kitchen counter or something, somewhere where it doesn't get too much moisture and create mold on it, and it will air dry. So that's all about Cerassee. And so if you have, of course, any questions, you can type them here and I can answer them for you to the best of my ability. So I see Amina Muhammad says it tastes better when it's ripe. Right, it does taste better. Well, we think it tastes better when it's ripe. But as I said, persons of other cultures, they eat it green. They steam it down like a vegetable, like okra. and they eat it, right? So I just see a lot of these just drying up on the tree. Nobody eating it. Of course, the seeds would go back into the ground and bring more Cerassee, but this is very nutritious and it can be incorporated into your diet. I know a lot of people are transitioning to try and eat healthier, but a lot of the things that we only make tea from, you could cook it. Sometimes I cook with Cerassee. I would put it in my steams, put a little bit in my rice even. I've actually never tried cooking this before because I've never gotten it green. I've always gotten it ripe. So today, lucky me, I will be able to cook this. So let me know if you have any questions. If not, I guess we can end. Let me take a sip of my Cerassee tea here. Ooh, nice and bitter. I like it. And growing up, I was so scared of bitters. like, like, like most Caribbean people. We love the bitters, but then we dislike the taste of it. And so, of course, we would sweeten it. You can sweeten Cerassee with sugar if you want a healthier option. If you don't want to use white sugar, of course, there's also brown sugar. But if you don't want to use sugar, you can also switch that out for a natural sweetener like an agave, or you can use an all-natural honey, right? And it gives it a little sweet, bitter taste, but the bitterness is still there. However, I love the bitterness. I don't think Cerassee is as bitter as a neem. Neem is very, very bitter. And we know that neem also has some excellent properties as a bitter as well. Any questions? All right, so if we don't have any questions, this video will be posted live on the page. For those of you who missed it, you can go back and check it out. It's very short but very profound, as I made sure to explain some of its properties, how you can make it, the difference between an infusion and a decoction, and of course how it can be used for women suffering any menstrual issues. It's good in aiding against menstrual cramps, and of course it is good in expelling that excess waste and afterbirth out of the body after you would have already given birth. All right, and of course, again, you can bathe with it. And thanks to my creative director, my partner, for draping me up in this Cerassee. And I want to shout out one of my colleagues, Dr. Anthony Richards from Trinidad. He is a biochemist and he knows all about Cerassee. And usually when we get together to talk about Caribbean plants and share stories, as he's a storyteller as well, he comes straight in the Cerassee. But before I go, I also want to mention that Cerassee can also be made into a tincture, right? And so what a tincture is, it's a concoction of a medicinal plant and an alcohol, a liquor, a spirit. Now, I know a lot of people are like, hold on, plants and alcohol. Well, actually, this is how a lot of herbalists used to preserve plants back in the day and how they used to make medicine from them. They would steep them in alcohol, and of course, alcohol being a spirit, the alcohol actually absorbs all of the properties and all of the nutrients of the plant, and so it takes on the spirit of the plant. And so with the tincture, you will let the medicinal herb of your choice, that is, sit into the alcohol and at least soak and brew for about 8 weeks, because you want to be able to extract all of that medicinal property. And I make tinctures. They'll be available soon through Holistic Mothers. And I made a Cerassee tincture last year, July 21st, 2021. But of course, I had to let it sit for a while. And so how you take a tincture is, let's see if I get this open here. Now this one is very, very potent because I actually brewed this one with some Jamaican overproof rum, which is very, very strong. I'm sure that it's not going to be palatable for everybody, and so I have to revisit that. But this is for me. Of course, I am my own guinea pig, and I would test out all of my medicinal medicines on me first before I offer them to the public, of course. And so this is a tincture. And what you're going to do is just drop a little bit of the medicine under your tongue, like so. And you just want to just let it work its magic. Just let it sit under your tongue for a while before you swallow it. Now, the tincture pretty much acts like a tea in a sense, where you're getting the same nutrients, but it's even more potent because it would have been steeped in alcohol, and the alcohol would have taken on the spirit of the plant. And so it's a quick, fast and go remedy for those persons, you know, who aren't able to make tea in the mornings, but you still want to get your medicinal herb benefits going on. You could just drop a little bit under your tongue before you go to work, or even before you go to bed, and while you sleep, you let your body really work that through. All right. So thank you for tuning in, everybody, to hear me talk about medicinal teas. This is the first series in what I'm certain will be many more to come, because we have a lot of different herbs that aid in the healing process of postpartum, after birth. And of course, we have herbs that aid in the fertility process, that help you in wanting to start your pregnancy journey. And so we're going to be discussing these on the page. So be sure to like and follow us here on Facebook, Holistic Mothers. We are also on Instagram at Holistic Mothers. You can like and follow us there. Share the page. Share it with your wives, your girlfriends, your sisters, your aunties, your cousins. You know, all the women that you know that give birth, of course, that could use some herbal remedy in their journeys. We also have a postpartum box, a very lovely postpartum box for a new mother, to help, you know, pamper her and heal her, as she's just undergone such a long process, a process of bringing new life into this world. It's not an easy journey. It's very sacred. Like the old people say, it's one foot in the grave and one foot out. And so, of course, after mommy has given birth to baby, you know, most of us, we just make sure the baby is good, but we got to make sure mommy is good too. And so we have a lovely box to help mommy to get back on her feet and pamper herself and feel like herself again. And of course, to aid in her healing journey. So if you're interested in ordering a box, all of that information is already there on the page. There's a number that you can call if you would like to have a free consultation. Of course, be sure to send us a message, send us a DM, and of course, again, like and share the page. And thank you so much for tuning in on this Bush Medicine Sunday series. I will you all a beautiful rest of your Sunday, and peace. See you guys soon.